Welcome back to Restauranttopia. We got number 3 in our 3-part series with Matt Plapp. So cool to have him here. Matt, thanks so much for coming back today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, fellas. I appreciate having me here. And I got a story because behind me is a memory of this airport.
Oh, yeah?
I didn't know you guys were next to it. And when Max and I were pulling up, I said, dude, that's the airport where I'll tell you this funny story. And he's like, what? I said, well, so I did some stuff with the Cincinnati Bengals, and I would travel on the team plane.
Imagine a perfect world where you can build a restaurant, open the doors, and make loads of money. Unfortunately, those days are over. It takes great leadership, hard work, and long hours to operate a successful restaurant. Together, we can make it happen. This is Restauranttopia.
And so we're coming to Cleveland, and we had a private chartered Delta plane every time. And it was pretty cool because whenever we would leave a city, they would block off the expressway, police escort. It was a unique experience going to the airport. You pull up on the tarmac, you get on the plane. Mm-hmm. And so we're getting ready to land in Cleveland, and I'm sitting behind Carson Palmer and Jordan Palmer. And the pilot's like, okay, we're going to brace for landing. We're going to be landing in downtown Cleveland. You want to brace? We have a quick stop, so make sure you brace yourself. And we're all like, everybody literally is like,
never heard that before.
What is that? What does that mean? I'm like, a quick stop. And he's like, so just brace yourself when we land. And of course, nobody braces themselves. Yeah. And so I didn't know we were landing on this little airstrip on the lake.
And little is an understatement.
Yeah, which apparently is not very often used by the big planes. From what I'm told, they can land there and unload. But a big plane like a Delta 747 has to be empty to take off.
I've never seen anyone there.
Yeah.
I've never seen a big plane land there. It's all Cessnas.
Yeah.
It's all turboprops.
So we land, and dude wasn't joking. He hits the brakes. Like however the hell planes do that reverse, I don't know. And our heads back of the seats, me, Carson, like everybody, the whole plane was like simultaneously. Dude, it was like a rock and roll song. Like we're all like, what the? Oh my god, my head and people are laughing.
Everybody's in concussion protocol.
Right? How'd you get CTE? Yeah. Football? Did you get sacked? No. It's from landing in Cleveland.
I was in the AFC North, and we flew to that damn airport twice a year.
And so we're sitting there, and like at this point, we all turn our phones on, and we're like, what the heck? Like, what was that? Like, nobody knew, which was funny because I'm guessing they probably landed there before, but maybe it was a new round of players. I don't know. Yeah. And some of the guys were laughing like, dumbasses, you should have known that. We've been here before. So I look at my phone. I'm like, what is the urgency of landing at an airport and stopping quick? I've never heard of that. And so I look on a map, and I'm like, we land on a road? Like, what the hell are we at? Like, in the
middle of the lake.
Yeah, and that's when one of the guys like, oh, this is a small private airport. These planes can land here. The stadium's only a couple blocks away. Yeah. So we literally got in our bus, drove like 2 blocks, went up to a hotel, stayed there by the stadium. But it was comical because like I'm looking at this and I'm like, that makes sense now why you said stop. I'm like, well, it doesn't seem too safe to stop here. But yeah. He's like, yeah, if the plane's completely empty, we can take off because at that point we've burned our fuel. We've got the luggage off and we got the people and we take off. And then we took off from the traditional Cleveland airport after that. But
so we're in the third letter of our acronym now. This is the 3rd episode, right?
This is our baby.
All right, let's talk about it. This may be the most important one, no?
All right, so we attracted the people.
Yep.
We built our list.
Yep.
And now what are we going to do?
Now we got to keep them. We got to retain them. So
all right.
I've used the conversation the last couple episodes about my wife. It's 26 years later. I don't know how in the hell I retained her, but I did.
Leverage your data.
I leveraged my data, I guess. But
you should build an app for that for husbands out there, right? Yeah, so we can collect data on our wives, and then we can learn to deploy the data. And if we haven't seen her in a while, we can send her an SMS. It all makes sense to me.
I got you strawberry ice cream because I know that you like strawberry ice cream.
That's what I'm saying. We need this.
So
birthdays, anniversaries.
Yeah. So retention of sales relationships, in essence, is what a customer relationship is. And I just clicked to me because we're in Cleveland. I'd never hear that much, but I had a client up here that was the Ohio Lottery back in my sold radio. Oh, yeah. And I had an ad agency that was up here that dealt with it. And I'll never forget, her name was Michelle. And I had kept in my ACT database through the conversations because we weren't getting much money. We went from getting very little money from this agency for Ohio Lottery. And we were a great fit, our oldie station was for Ohio Lottery. 45-year-olds buy lottery tickets, all that crap at the gas stations.
Segmentation, target markets, yep.
And so I had kept data on her. I found out through conversations when her birthday was. I found out through conversations that her husband was from Cincinnati. I found out through conversations that her husband, when they went there, they loved going to get Grader's ice cream and that her favorite flavor was this black raspberry chip. And I kept it in my data. Well, guess who was also a client of mine? Grader's Ice Cream. I don't know if you guys ever heard Grader's Ice Cream. Yeah. It's the bomb. Mm-hmm. And so Grader's was also a client by complete coincidence. And so I kept in there, and I'll never forget, because the one year we got like $8,000 in sale and buy it from them. And everybody else is getting like 150. And I'm like, man, I get some love. So I didn't sell my station. I sold me. Mm-hmm. And so that summer comes along. Worked out perfect that her birthday was the month before the flavor comes out. So the flavor came out like the following month, like a June birthday, and it comes out July. So I call up Rich Grader, one of the guys, owners of Graders back in the day. I guess he's probably still involved. And I'm like, hey, when's this come out? And they're like, oh, it comes out this day. I'm like, can I get a batch earlier? Yeah, we can probably make that happen. What you got? I'm like, I've got an important person. I want to send it to them their birthday. And so a couple days later, she calls me. She's like, what the holy hell? I'm like, what? What's the matter? Okay, number one, how did you know it was my birthday? Number two, how did you know I love Graders? And number three, how did you get me a flavor that is my favorite that's not even out yet? And I'm like, oh, you got the ice cream. Happy birthday. She's like, dude, seriously? And I'm like, we've through the conversations the last 2 years, you've said things and I keep notes. And Graders is a client. I called a favor. And so I appreciate, I know you liked it. I figured you'd appreciate it. I got $180,000 in the next year.
There you go.
What a coincidence.
No.
So retention is the same. You've got to retain people, whether you're a person selling advertising, whether you're a husband, retain your wife, whether you're a restaurant, retain your customers. And when I say retain, I mean it in two senses. Not only retain them buying food from you, mm-hmm. but retain their attention. We talked about it beforehand. Yeah. I've got a orange Lamborghini I like to drive, but I don't drive it a whole lot. At least I didn't last 2 years. Well, last year, through some motivational books, and the guy I heard talking, he's like, dude, if you got something that gets you motivated, that makes you go, do it more often. Like for me, I have the Lambo, which I probably shouldn't have, but I have it from a marketing standpoint, but also because when I get in it, I'm like, okay, I need to go faster to afford this. I need to, in my life, run like a Lambo, be a bull, because that's what the simple logo is on a Lambo. And so I started driving it Monday through Friday, every day. Well, there's a video on my YouTube channel about how my Lambo lost barley corn sales. Barley Corns is my favorite restaurant. We eat there 1 to 2 times a week. During the pandemic, we would eat in their parking lot twice a week in our car and eat their food because you couldn't eat in the restaurant for some ludicrous reason, but you couldn't. You could go to Kroger and go grocery shopping. Different story.
Go to Costco, go to Walmart.
But couldn't eat in the restaurant. So we'd eat in the parking lot. We would support them. And we quit going. So we're sitting at Christmas, and my daughter comes home from college, and she's like, hey, let's go to Barley Corns. Okay, cool, let's go. We go there, we get Doc-style wings. I get the hot sauce on the side. Their blue cheese is amazing, made in-house. I get their Saratoga chips with the barbecue sauce. It's all fire. Always a great experience. Eaten there thousands of times since the early 80s. Technically, they owe me a lifetime of free wings because the manager, Art, back in 86, bet me the Bengals were going to beat the Bears. I'm a Bears fan.
Okay.
Yeah. It was the year after the Bears won the Super Bowl, and the Bengals didn't win. They lost badly, and the bet was a lifetime of free wings. Well, for a year, every time I would show up, they would bring out free wings. And then finally my dad's like, quit bringing the free wings. Like, we can afford wings. You're an insurance client of mine. You lost the bet. I don't expect lifetime of wings. I'm like, I do.
A bet's a bet.
I reminded him the other day. But
a bet is a bet.
So I've been going to Barley Corns for a long time. But we hadn't been in, because my wife, we're sitting there, my daughter, we go to Barley Corns, and we're sitting there, about 5, 6 of us, and she goes, man, we haven't been to Barley Corns in a minute. It's been a couple months. I'm like, that's weird. And my daughter's like, something happened? I'm like, because she knows the restaurant business. And I'm like, no, this place is awesome. My wife goes, it's your stupid car. I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, well, because our house, we live off of 42 in Florence, Union. And Barley Corns is in 42 in Florence. My office is off 42 in Florence. My gym is off 42 in Erlanger. So I can literally drive in 12 minutes from my house to all these destinations and back. And during sports seasons, especially in the fall, my son's football, I go and watch his practice a lot. So I would drive, when I drive my SUV, the Infinity, I would drive down 42. Mm-hmm. And I would drive by Barley Corns 5, 6 times a day sometimes. And so at night when my wife would call and say, because we eat out a lot, hey, what's for dinner? I'd be like, Barley Corns. It's top of mind. When I started driving the Lambo, I don't drive the Lambo on 42. There's too many stoplights. There's too many stop and go. It's already uncomfortable to drive a long time anyways, which is a whole other story. It's like first world problem when you have Lambo legs. But it's
maybe the definition or the epitome of it, right?
Yeah. So when I drive it to the office or to the gym, I don't get on 42. I go up to 42, go Mount Zion because that's a long, fun road, and then I hop on 75 and go way too fast for 2 exits and get off. So I'm driving the Lambo back and forth to the office. I'm not driving up 42 anymore. And so in essence, Barley Corns, their email marketing, I quit opening a long time ago, which we'll get to in a minute why. They don't have my cell phone number for texting. Somehow their social media is lacking enough that they do not reach a 45-year-old married guy with 2 kids who eats out 20 times a week on Facebook and Instagram. That means that they have screwed up the algorithm at a very high level. It's because Facebook knows, they know everything. Instagram knows it. Snapchat, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, like they know we're here right now, and they know that I'm on my second glass of water. Like, there he is, he's thirsty again. Get him out. Like, run a wave by, make him think it.
Show him a Dasani's commercial.
Yeah. So they know all that. So the fact that they're not reaching me, the only way they were reaching me was their sign. And the minute the sign went away, like you mentioned, a construction project, the minute people change their traffic patterns, if the only way you're getting them is by that real estate, you're screwed. And so you look at that, that's 2 months. So that's 2 months of Matt Plapp driving his car. Let's just call it 8 visits at $80 a pop. There's $640 in sales, net down to a couple $100 lost profit. So it's not the end of the day. I'm sure there's not a bunch of other morons with orange Lambos going on the expressway over 42. So it didn't crush them. But it begs the question of who else are they not getting the attention of for other reasons? And so the retain part is the fact that you have to retain their attention to retain their business. So a great example that we just came off of the big game a few weeks ago. The Cincinnati Bengals played the St. Louis Rams.
I remember that.
What every single restaurant did, I guarantee if you go back in your email and if you subscribe to a lot of restaurant emails and if you look at the social media for all your restaurant clients, what every restaurant did that week was talk about the Super Bowl. But they talked about it in the context of, here's how you order your food from us. Come celebrate the Super Bowl with us. Get your to-go, right? You guys all got that.
Yeah, of course.
We don't do that. Our concept of retention is I want to retain your attention. Well, the reason I quit opening Barleycorn's emails years ago is because all they do is talk about Barleycorns.
Yeah.
How did I retain my wife for 26 years? I don't go home tonight and go, oh my gosh, Christy, Max and I went to Cleveland, got up there, crushed the podcast. Guys took me to lunch. This girl looked at my butt. Some guy said I was awesome. I sold 2 books. I closed 2 deals. If I did that, a couple months into the relationship, Christy had been gone. I'm gone.
Yeah.
Well, that's what restaurants do.
Yeah.
Their email marketing is, number one, they do it one size fits all. Everybody gets the same email.
Sure.
When in fact, if you have your database segment, like we talked about the last episode.
It's a hey you thing.
Yeah, hey you. They have no name, but also male and female. Women respond to colors and call to actions and messaging different. My wife likes wine. I don't drink wine. So a wine message might resonate to her. It wouldn't me. She's not a steak person as much as I am, so something else.
It's funny. I was just about to use that example. Yeah. You eat steak, and she's eating a mixed green salad with berries and goat cheese, right?
So she's not that fancy, but yeah, she's more of a ribs person.
Yeah, gotcha.
But we're from Kentucky.
That's
fair. We're refined hillbillies.
Well, I'll be honest. I don't know anything about Kentucky until about 5 minutes ago. Yeah. I've learned it all.
We have roads.
Yeah, that's amazing.
With potholes.
Yeah, with potholes. So the other aspect is if I'm a new, frequent, or lost. If there's all these elements. But so number one, I'll say this. You shouldn't have one-size-fit-all email. Your email shouldn't be going to your entire database at the same thing. You should have segmentation of your database. Like a new customer, what's relative to them and relates to them is different than what relates to somebody who comes every week. The next element is you shouldn't be emailing them every week. I don't need to hear from Barleycorns 52 weeks a year. That's why I quit opening your emails. Number one, they're always about you.
Yeah.
Number two, I get them every week. So after about 6 months, I'm like, I'm good. And I opt out. And I go away. And so, he's out of here. He's just like, I'm done. Like, I'm out of here. This is shit. I don't like this email idea. So
he's like, I was doing it 3 times a week.
Yeah. So the concept there is that now you've lost their attention because number one, you're talking to them every week. Number two, you're talking to them about you every week. Yep. And number three, you're talking to everybody the same. So what we do with our retention strategies, and this goes back to Facebook and Instagram too, because the reason people's Facebook pages, I was on one the other day, has 100,000 fans. They had 13 likes on a Facebook post.
100,000?
100,000 fans. 13 likes.
Wow.
On the flip side, I went to a company that I know that does a really good job because I was showing this as an example to somebody. Yeah. They had 2,000 fans, and they had 100 likes, 10 comments, and 5 shares.
Engagement.
And the reason is they had retained Facebook's algorithm, Instagram, YouTube, Google, all of everything on your phone knows when somebody scrolls past your post. They know when they don't stop on. They know when they don't click. Like one of the secrets we tell a lot of our clients, which is a really simple hack, is every post on social media should have the see more button, meaning you put enough text there to have the see more. Why? Because it forces somebody to click the button and it tells Facebook that person has done a little more than the other person.
It's signaling to the algorithm.
Yeah, exactly.
This is what you're doing, that you're engaging. And it comes down to with the algorithm of it going as deep as, even if you pause, if you can get someone to pause and it's telling the algorithm something.
And so the retention part of the email is, now that you look at it from a standpoint that I've quit opening Barleycorn's emails because they were all about them. Mm-hmm. They came every week and I didn't really give a shit. So when I go back to the story to rewind this, the Super Bowl, we didn't send emails about get your Super Bowl. I had a client call me up the Tuesday after the Super Bowl. And he said, hey, I want to thank you. I'm like, what? He's like, we had our biggest weekend ever at our restaurant during the Super Bowl. And he's been open like 20-something years. I said, okay, why are you thanking me? Because obviously you got something good going on. He said, well, because the reason it's different is this is the first year we've never done an email, text, or social media campaign about coming to us for the Super Bowl for your food. We did the opposite. What you do is we tell our clients, hey, guess what? Tuesday, we're sending an email out. We're going to make a Facebook post that doesn't say Super Bowl. It says big game. It doesn't say the mascots. It says Cincinnati and Los Angeles, because those are cities. Yeah. Who's going to win the big game? Comment below who you think's going to win for a chance to win a $25 gift card. After it's all over, we're going to randomly pick a winner, $25 gift card. When you comment below, you're going to be notified in Messenger that your entry has been received. And if you're not a member of our VIP program, you're going to be entered into that.
I love that expectation setting.
Yeah, you tell them exactly what's going to happen.
Because then it comes with some anticipation.
Yeah, and so some things that happen, like for example, like his post had 784 comments. So if he would have made a Facebook post like he did last year and the year before and the year before and the year before, hey, come get our wings for the Super Bowl, he'd look like Red Ocean every restaurant.
You get 3 likes and 1 comment.
He'd get 3 likes, 1 comment, and his mom would share it.
That's exactly right.
Just like me, my mom shares all my crap. Mm-hmm. I mean, thank you, Mom. But on the other end, he got 700 people. So what we do a little different in retention, this ties it all together. So we make that Facebook post. It's not about him. It's about his audience. It gets engagement. We then take the email database and we look at it and say, okay, who's the most relatable audience in this database? Let's go with frequent men. So we send an email to the frequent men and say, we didn't hit everybody else. So now his 10,000 person database, only 2,500 to get an email. Yeah. So we don't need to email everybody every week. My wife she didn't see me for 2 days, last 2 days. I was getting up early at 4 a.m. I was going to bed at 8 o'clock. It's like she didn't have to see me the last 2 days. Sometimes that helps. That it helps retain her, like, oh, there's that guy I like. I'm going to make out with him.
Correct. It's the lesson that we learned from the pandemic of, I was telling my wife maybe 3 or 4 months ago, it's like, I don't have any new stories. Like, I got to go out and like do stuff, and I got to I got to go experience
some material.
I know. It's like, how many times you wanted to hear me about this contract I wrote? Like, it's boring as F. Yeah. Like, you have to give people time. You have to give them something different. And, we always joke about Wind Down Wednesday. It's like, if your entire list is getting Wind Down Wednesday, 1, the content sucks, and 2, you're not segmenting.
Yep. And so here's how that campaign goes. So we make a Facebook post or Instagram, whatever your jam is. I mean, most restaurants, there's a lot of capacity to gain engagement on Facebook, especially for that 35 to 70 crowd. And so we'll make a Facebook post. And it gets engagement. It doesn't talk about the restaurant. It talks about the teams. It gives them a reason to comment. When they comment, it goes on their timeline. Their friends see it, and now it brings new people. So it not only gets engagement, it also reminds the people that are in the VIP program, you've got a couple offers, make sure you come use them. And it also reminds people that, hey, you're not in. But then the next thing that we do is we take that email. We email those frequent men, because we know that the people that are going to engage in that contest aren't necessarily the new people. It's the people that know, like, and trust us, and men are more interested in football, so why waste the bandwidth with the women? Let's go with the men. We use the women for Valentine's Day this month, or February. We use the men for the Super Bowl. And so we send that email out. Well, we do a thing called smart email, and that when they don't open the email within 24 hours, they get a text message. If they open the email, we don't bug them with a text. They saw it. If they didn't take the action, I'm not going to bug them. Mm-hmm. So that email goes out. It gets a 35 to 40% open rate, not 8 to 12.
No, 35, 40% is real stout, especially if you're dealing with like a constant contact or something like that. That's good engagement.
And then the next level is that it gets a 12 to 15% click rate. 1%. I used to speak for constant contact. Yeah. 1 to 2% is like, holy smokes, people clicked.
Yeah. Right.
Well, we didn't send them an email saying, hey, it's no shit, it's the Super Bowl. We know that. Right. And we know you sell wings. We didn't do that. We said, go to Facebook, tell us who's going to win the big game. You got a chance to win and we found, by the way, on contests, the smaller the better. I gave away wings for a year one time with Quaker Steak and Lube. There's some of those up here, I think. Mm-hmm. Down in Cincinnati, a buddy of mine owns 3. People didn't believe it.
Sharon PA, I think they started right on the border of Ohio.
He's
PA
like,
here.
this is a scam. Like, nobody's giving away free wings for a year.
Yeah.
And like, no, it's free wings for a year. Like, no, it's on our Facebook page. Like, no, it's not. So we went $10 gift card, blew up. Because it was more relatable. I can go on a $10 gift card.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
They're definitely going to do that.
So,
wow. I love it.
Well, it's kind of like the sweepstakes where they say we're going to give away $10 million, and you know you're getting put in that red sea of contestants, right? Like, there's no way you're going to get picked for, but if they're giving away $100 gift cards, all of a sudden, now it's realistic.
So we do that contest, and so that's a little hack there. But then the next day, if they don't open the email, they get a text. And another thing is text costs about a penny a piece. So now instead of sending, there's 2,500 people, let's say 1,200 open the email, now I'm only texting 1,200 people. So I'm not using more money to text because I don't want to waste the bandwidth. That's another thing. A lot of people don't have their messaging connected. Their data stack's not connected. Their email's not communicating with their text. So they'll email 2,500 people and then 2 days later text 2,500 people. Well, if of the 2,500 people, 1,200 already did what you asked, why are you telling them again? You just wasted money and you burned their attention because now they're like, shit, this guy's harassing me.
Yeah. Right.
So then we only text the people who didn't. Drive to Facebook. So now we've also done is we've went to our best people. The people that like Facebook now is like, holy crap, average Facebook post gets 3 comments. This one got 800. Let's start showing this restaurant stuff to more people.
Yeah.
So we go back to the whole thing to tie a bow around it. Number one, you talk to your audience via email, text, and Facebook about something that was not about the restaurant. Number two, you got an open rate that's 5 to 10 times higher than you would have gotten anyways. You got a click-through rate that's 100 times higher. You got a text, like our text message, the one restaurant I was looking at sent 49% click-through rate.
Wow. 49.
49%.
Wow.
We sent 800 text messages because that's the segmentation that didn't open the email. It's not all about 8,000.
No, but think about it.
49.
So
half.
400 people. I mean, any one of our listeners would love to engage at that level, that intimate level, on their phone with a text message with 400 people. That's next level.
It all comes back to that targeting.
It's targeting.
That's fire.
It's targeting. It's specificity.
Yep.
I said that. I don't know if I can spell that.
No, it rolled off nicely. I was going to say because I can't say that word for the life of me.
I cheated like hell in public school. So
yeah, there you go.
Close. It's targeting. It's being specific. It's segmentation, but it's not talking about you. And so to tie it all around that, it goes to Facebook. It gets a lot of engagement. It gets on a lot of timelines. So here's what we did. We retained more attention. So if I send out the crappy email to 10,000 people and I get a 10% open rate, I get 1,000 people. I get a 1% click-through rate. I don't know what 1% of 1,000 is, but let's just say it's 100.
It's 10.
10. Okay, so it's 10. There we go. I was trying to figure that out. It was 100. let's just give them 100. So you got 1,000 opens, you got 100 clicks, you got 1,100 people. Your Facebook post gets 25 engagements, comments, likes, shares. Yeah. So now let's say, and with the text, you get a couple clicks. So now you're up to, let's say, 1,500 people engaged. But instead of doing 10,000, you go to 2,800. And 2,800, you get a 40% opener on the email. Well, now you just got the same 1,500 people. Well, then of those 1,500 people, you got another 400 clicks. So now you've got 1,900. Well, then the text goes out, and you get the text deliverability rate and open rate's like 99%. People open and see their text.
Yep.
So now you got another 1,500 attentions. Now you're up to, let's say, $3,000. Then you get 400 clicks from the text. Now you're at 3,500. Then all of that went to Facebook, and you got 800. Let's just do 500. You got 500 comments. You're at 4,000. You also got 100 likes. You're at 4,100. I mean, you do the math.
It's a snowball.
It's a snowball. So this guy, when he called me on this, he's like, it's comical because I did exactly what I did the opposite of what I would have normally done is talk about coming to my restaurant to get food or watch the game or have to-go orders or do third-party ordering, whatever. And more people came. I said, yeah, because you were top of mind to more people instead of the other bull crap that every restaurant does, which they do it every week.
Yeah.
I promise you, subscribe to 100 restaurants right now if you can, because 64% of them don't have a tool on their website to subscribe to their email, and 93% of them don't have a tool in the restaurant, and 97% of them will not ask you in the restaurant. So that's another task. Try and get on 100 lists. Every week, those 100 restaurants will send you something about them.
They're begging for attention.
And so what we do as our team is we go, okay, we got 52 weeks to retain attention on Facebook, Instagram, in-store, email, text. How do we do it? Well, let's look at what are the opportunities. So it's 52 weeks. We don't want to email and text 26 weeks. We want to go half. So we're only going to do 26 messages. So then we look at the audience. We're going to do, of those 26, 8 of them are going to go to everybody. Really simple. Napa, the place I mentioned I was at podcast before. That was down in Louisville today.
Yeah, I want those cookies, by the way.
Yeah,
I think we put the proof in the pudding there because you were talking about how infectious the sales process is if they're trained and they actually try the stuff. You're selling me cookies. I'm over here like, damn, I need to try these cookies.
I want some cookies too.
Yeah,
cookies.
You're not even selling them.
So Napa, we did a contest for them a couple months ago. It was a giant glass container vase or something filled with wine corks. They're a wine brand, wine restaurant, filled with wine corks. And it was a post made on Facebook. And it was an email sent to the entire database saying, win a $25 gift card. Click the link below. Go tell us how many corks are in the vase. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Simple as shit.
Yeah, that promo's been around for 500 years, right? Yeah.
And nobody uses it.
It's crazy.
And it goes to everybody in the database because a new and a lost customer don't need to have that big of a reaction for that. It then goes on Facebook. I think theirs had like 600 comments on it.
Yeah.
I actually used it in an example in an email I was out there. I can't remember what the number was, but it had a lot of comments on it, a lot of engagement. So we look at the database and go, okay, what are our opportunities to engage new, lost, and frequent? Every month, I want an email, a text, and a social media campaign that specifically talks to new people, but not about the restaurant. A lot of times, though, sometimes we'll combo those with irresistible offers because you got to get them in once. But then how else can we engage them outside of that, like a contest? Number 2 is frequent customers. A frequent customer doesn't need, like barley corns. I don't need to know about your wings.
Yeah, you already know.
I've had them 1,000 times. I'm not trying anything new. I don't need you to email me about wine night, about this. I just need you to be present in my mind. If I see barley corns, I'm like, oh, barley corns night. It's all I need. Yeah. The sign proved it. The fact that I didn't drive by the sign for 2 months and didn't eat there proves that all I need to see is the word barley corns. Grater's ice cream? Like, I'm going to get it tonight. You guys made me mention it here. I'm in Cleveland. I mentioned the Ohio Live Store. I'm like, shit, I need Grater's tonight. And so that's a key element. But then we look at what else can we do? So a great example is April is next month, a couple weeks from now. Mother's Day is in May. One of the promotions we do every April is we have all of our clients, like the Super Bowl one, or the big game. We say an email, a Facebook post, an email, and a text that goes out. We say, hey, next month is Mother's Day. And we send this to the frequent females only because the dudes won't engage as much and the new and lost don't care as much because they don't engage your brand yet. We want to celebrate moms for 30 days versus 1. Do us a favor, click the link below, go to Facebook and leave a special memory about you and your mom. One restaurant, Sweet Taters, out in Concord, North Carolina, Conover, North Carolina, a little northwest of Charlotte, had like 242 women, I think the number was, that in that couple week period went to Facebook and didn't just leave a comment, left a picture and like 4 paragraphs about how their mom and them and their special bond.
Yeah. That's engagement.
So now you not only got engagement, you got deep engagement, meaningful engagement. And I guarantee you, because the lady called me, I'll never forget it, Tasha's her name. She's like, dude, that was one of the first campaigns we had done like that for her last year. She's like, I had people coming in here and I walk up and she's an independent operator that touches the tables, but doesn't just walk by and have one foot out the door, walks up and says, was everything amazing? Yeah, it was. What did you like the most? What are you guys in for today? What's going on? I see some presents.
It's like a real table touch.
She does that. Yeah, she does that. She engages at the table at a high level.
It's amazing how much data you can find, even if you're not recording it, just by talking to your customers.
And she told me, she said, you wouldn't believe the number of people that I asked, what brought you in today? Oh, I got your Mother's Day email and it got me hungry.
Yeah.
The email said nothing about the restaurant.
Food. Yeah.
The Facebook post said nothing about the restaurant. The text said nothing about the restaurant. It said, tell us about your mom. But what it is you go on there when you're like, if I'm engaging in La Rosa's or barley corns or Walt's Hitching Post, if I'm seeing their brand, my brain says, "Oh, I need to eat there. Like I want that. That sounds good today." And so that's the concept of retention. That's why restaurants are losing. I have a saying. My book I'm working on for 2023 is called "Outspend or Outsmart," and the subtopic is going to be, "You better outsmart because you can't outspend."
No, you can't.
Yeah.
Like, who's a local independent pizza place here that's awesome?
Jeannie knows.
Yeah, great.
What is it?
Jeannie knows.
Jeannie knows. They can't outspend Papa John's.
Nope.
You got to outsmart them. And here's what I love about it is Papa John's is a giant cruise ship. I was telling this story on a podcast last week when me and my wife we left out of Miami, Florida a couple years ago for a cruise, me and my wife and kids. Weirdest thing I ever seen in my life. The boat comes on, they go, hey, we got to stop the boat. We're maritime law. We have to come to the rescue of a vessel in distress. It was a boat of Cuban refugees. Oh, wow. Craziest shit to see in person, dude. Like I took a picture of it, the next day we realized what it was right away. Mm-hmm. And the next day looked it up online and there it was. But the crazy thing about it was It took like 30 minutes for this boat to stop, and we were probably only going like a mile an hour.
Yeah, not like the plane.
And so the concept was, what I tell people is, you're that one location pizza place. You can stop now. You're a 16-foot Skeeter fishing boat.
Yeah, with a 225 on the back.
That can pull in any, well, 16-footer better than have a 225. That'd be ugly. But maybe. But you're a small fishing boat. You can go in and out. You can make adjustments. You can make changes quick. You can outsmart them. You can't outspend them.
Right.
And so you as a restaurant have to learn how to live in the blue ocean. The blue ocean is where you're having conversations with your customers that Papa John's isn't. Papa John's is doing the next day of selling pizza. You know, hey, the Bengals won, so next day it's half off. They can afford to be on 5 radio stations, 3 TV stations, and all over the place.
And it's dumb money.
Yeah, it's FU money. It's like the guy that I hired a company to find my orange Lambo. Got it from a guy. It showed up delivered to me in a custom semi, dirty as hell, which is funny because the kind of car it was.
Yeah.
But the guy he wasn't selling it. He has a private collection. He has 30 cars. And the guy knew it and said, hey, I got a guy that really wants an orange on orange, that model, that year, everything. Okay, whatever, here you go. He didn't give a shit. Got to FU money. Well, the marketing, the big media company, why is McDonald's? I say cheeseburger, you think McDonald's. Not because it's the best cheeseburger. It's by no means the best cheeseburger. But they spend the most money conditioning us that that's the quickest and easier for a cheeseburger.
Conditioning is the operative term there. Yeah.
And so, but as a small restaurant, you can outsmart them all day long. You can easily tomorrow hear this podcast and say, okay, we're going to do the cherry pie.
Yep.
You know, podcasts ago, they had the build database. We're going to have all of our servers walk up to the table and do the cherry pie ask because we can do that now. Papa John's, it's 6 months of meetings. It's like, okay, let's get around the table.
We got to workshop this, gentlemen, and then we're going to do a focus group, and then after we do the focus group, we're going to do another focus group, and then
subcommittees,
and then test it. We're going to ABC test it, and then,
it's 6 months later.
Yeah.
And so, as a small business, small restaurant, any business, you're able to outsmart. You're able to move quick. You're able to move nimble.
Yeah.
And that's your biggest advantage.
Oddly enough, this is what we talked about in episode number 1 of Restauranttopia. The first time we even dreamed of having a podcast was just like, let's talk about the advantages of an independent restaurant.
Yeah.
And that pivoting thing that you're talking about, the quick and nimbleness and being able to recover, start and stop, all that jazz, huge advantage.
Yeah. And one thing I want to push out to our listeners is you have to act. You have to do this.
Big time.
You have to take the time to be a student of the game. And I encourage you to hire someone like Matt or hire Matt, check out his books. But this is no different in the restaurant business now than knowing how to boil water. This is part of the game. You have to know social media. You have to know marketing. You have to know digital. You have to know all the things that revolve around marketing that are just part of the game because it's a do or die moment.
Yep.
I truly believe that the post-pandemic world is moving so quickly and the customers are going so fast towards digital that if you're not doing it, you're going to get crushed.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like, remember we talked to Rev and he said, you know, it's because a lot of people are out there uncomfortable with marketing. We make a really good meatloaf, but maybe we're not high-level marketers and maybe we're scared of it. We hate it. We stay away from it, right? And you probably see this in your experience too.
Yeah, all the time.
But Rev says something that was like really, you know Rev?
Yeah.
Rev CNCO? Yeah. So he says something really profound. He's like, listen, you don't like washing dishes, so you hire someone to do it.
Yeah.
If you don't like marketing, hire someone to do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, I had a restaurant about a month ago who called me up and personally, because it was kind of weird. I was flying to Fort Myers, Florida last February. Mm-hmm. And I get copied on everything that comes through our stuff. And I get copied literally getting on the plane, flying to Fort Myers, and I get an email from a guy that was requesting a copy of our book from a podcast. And so I look at the address. It's Naples, Florida. And so
that's amazing.
I see the guy's info, and we ask for info. His cell phone's on there. I shoot him a text. I said, Peter, this is Matt Plapp. I just saw you requested a book through my team. I'm going to be in Fort Myers tomorrow. I can move a couple things around. Can I come by and have dinner at your restaurant and hand deliver the book?
I love it.
Wow.
And so I did.
Yeah.
Went down there, had dinner, met him. They became a client of our company about a month later.
Well, of course he did.
He called up.
How could they not, right?
He called up about a month ago, and he called up. He's like, we need to cancel the services. And the way I've priced what we do as an ongoing basis, we are equivalent. My son worked at Grandma's Pizza. He made equivalent to, he was a part-time employee. It's the same cost as us. And so when I price our services, I always joke, like, we cost as much as your dishwasher. The difference is you get a team of 14 to 20 people that at a very high level are experts at every aspect of restaurant marketing, whether it's live videos, email automation, text, whatever.
But think about that. I want to break it down for 1 second. The amount of money that you're spending on stuff that doesn't work in your restaurant, and this is the price of a part-time employee. Yeah. This is something that you need to explore and to look at. It goes into your prime cost. And again, when you talk about your prime cost and you're looking at your labor costs, and again, using your analogy for that part-time employee, if you're increasing top line, your prime still looks so good.
Yep.
So it doesn't matter what it costs as long as it's driving that top line revenue, which is just inevitably going to flow to the bottom because of the nature of the business.
Well, that comes back to ROI, right? I mean, it's simple, but and that's the thing we talked about earlier. It's kind of a pain in the ass when you're an operator and you get approached and romanced by a lot of these marketing companies.
I have a $17,000 website I'm going to build you. Yeah. Like, it's going to be amazing.
Yep.
I think you weren't here. I was telling the story.
It's going to have video.
Right. My buddy's got a power washing company and hired a marketing firm to set up his SEO and everything else and do all this optimization and all this jazz. He has no idea what they're even talking about. He's a boat mechanic that has a pressure washer business. He has no idea what they're even saying. It's been, 8 months, $2,000 a month. And he's finally had the call with him. I talked to him like 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, dude, where's the clients? This guy's a hard worker. He's really good at what he does, no matter what he picks up. It's just marketing's not his deal. If you met the guy, you would say, no, he's not a marketer, right? But he's got 0 clients in almost 2 years of paying his company $2,000 a month.
And they have clients in month 1.
Yeah. And that's
thank you.
And that's what restaurateurs have, the uneasiness and the
bad taste in their mouth.
The bad taste in their mouth, but also just the paranoia of hiring a marketing expert. And that's why you got to go with someone who has KPIs, that is giving you data, and then is showing results.
But you know the big thing you got to do?
What's that?
You have to be willing to listen to every dumbass that comes to your door.
Yeah.
Because here's a couple things. Number one, I'd be willing to bet 9 out of 10 marketing companies that call every restaurant are smarter than marketing than the restaurateur.
Yeah.
They might not have the product you should buy. Mm-hmm. You should be trained, number one, on how to say no. It's not hard. You tell your kids no every day. You tell your employees no. You should be able to tell the person, hey, I'll take the meeting. I want to hear what you have to say.
Yep.
We're not in the market right now, but I want to hear what you have to say. You have to be prepared to say no. Don't be romance. Like, I had a guy recently that was wouldn't call me to cancel our services. I'm like, why? Well, I'm afraid I'm going to be sold. I'm like, dude, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Yeah. If you don't have the money, which he's in Chicago and the shutdowns, if you don't have the money, you shouldn't spend it. Yeah. It is what it is. But you should be prepared to understand and say no. But you should take every single meeting. And the reason you take every single meeting is because they are talking to your competitors. They could, hey, what's working at the other pizza places you're talking to? Oh man, they're having good luck with this. It's a great way to gain knowledge. Number two,
that's a pro move right there.
Guess what those advertising people also do? They eat. I'll never forget King's Porsche, Cincinnati, Ohio. Back when I was selling radio, I was making plenty of money. My dream car was a Porsche, which ironically, I've still never bought one. I've had every car you can imagine. Never bought a Porsche. My wife was like, even think it's funny, she's like, you could have bought, like, you skipped the Porsche. I did. Yeah. But I went into King's Porsche. The guy's name was, I'll never forget it because his name was Michael Jordan, which I thought was hilarious.
That's awesome.
But I walk in, I have my checkbook in my back pocket. Yes, I was there I'd been to his place 10, 20 times trying to sell him advertising. And I was always around, shaking hands, kissing babies. And I walked in his office, and I had my checkbook and my title. No shit.
You were
ready
to go.
You were ready.
I was buying a 911. Period. No income was no problem. And I'm in his office, and his person walks to his door and goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. I knew this guy's nobody. Come on in." And I never walked in the dealership again.
Really?
I'm like, this nobody just ain't buying a Porsche, and this nobody's bought. I'm 45 now. I'm on my 45th car.
Wow.
Yeah. So I bought a lot of cars. I did a lot of stupid decisions with cars, but I always tell people, like, you know what? You wouldn't believe the number of restaurant owners I talk to that treat me like absolute shit. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry. I'm not to be a jack. Like, I want to say I'm the smartest person you're ever going to talk to in marketing. I am confident. I am the number one restaurant marketing person in the freaking world. I have no problem saying that. I am confident in that.
Right.
Number two, I eat at your restaurant. I could eat at your restaurant.
Yeah.
I could be, if you're not a jackass, I could be a customer. I mean, I've got plenty of Barley Coins is not a client of mine. Mm-hmm. Walt Hitching Post, who have I talked about a lot?
Yeah.
They're in my book.
Yeah.
I spend thousands of dollars there.
Take the half-hour meeting.
Every single company that reaches out to you for marketing, it is your job as a business owner to investigate everything out there. Mm-hmm. You should talk to everyone. You should have a notebook pad, and we have MP notebook pads if you want one, that you can make a list. Oh, that was a cool idea. Oh, that was a cool idea. Yeah. I guarantee you they know something you don't know. We trained at one point, we had 800 marketers from all over the world, Belgium, Greece, the Canary Islands, you name it. that we trained from my first book, Don't Eat 6 Your Restaurant Sales. It was meant to attract restaurant owners. The restaurant owners got the book and just hired us. The agencies got the book and joined the membership program for restaurant owners.
There you go.
Whole other story. But we had about 800 or so people come through and train. Majority of them are agencies. They all know more than you.
Yeah.
It's like you should take the advice. You should do things like that allow you. Because when you also take that advice and you talk to everybody, you'll find them. I could go out here to Cleveland tonight and play. I don't know if it's the NBA season. I think it is.
Yeah, Cavs are playing tonight. I'm not sure if they're home.
I could play in the Cavs game. Mm-hmm. I guarantee if I get enough shots, I can make one. Yeah. It might be a hard time getting it off against an NBA player.
Yeah.
But if I take enough attempts, I'll make one. If you talk to enough people about marketing your restaurant, you're bound to find one that's a badass.
Yeah. And the worst case scenario, you get their data, right?
In the worst case
and then you can flip the script on them.
I mean, think about it. Every rep that comes in, they're knocking on every restaurant.
Yeah.
Hey, man, what have you heard is working? I had a thing the other day. I had a guy on my podcast last week, the Restaurant Expert Roundup, which you guys haven't been on yet, have you?
No.
Your counterpart's been on.
Yeah.
And which, by the way, I hope he's going good. I know he had some issues with family today.
He had some family health issues, but he's taking care of things, and we should have him back real soon.
I had him on that podcast. I had both you guys on there. But I had a guy on last week, and he's like, man, I tell you what, we cracked the code on hiring. I said, geez, that's gold. That's $1 billion idea.
Tell me about this, yeah.
He said, well, this restaurant I'm working with is looking at, they can't find the people to open. So we decided we're only going to open for lunch. Mm-hmm. And so what we did was we marketed to other restaurants and said, hey, do you have employees that are open for lunch? Because you're not open on lunch, you're open dinner. Yeah. And so they literally, he's like, Matt, in 24 hours, we filled the restaurant staff with other restaurant employees that have evening and weekend jobs that were looking for a Monday through Friday lunch gig, and it's going to work perfect. The restaurant's opening fully staffed with very high quality people. And he found that out. Like, I found that out by talking to him. Mm-hmm. If other people, he calls and says, hey, I don't got time to hang up. I'm like, no, take your job as an entrepreneur is to sift through the bullshit and find the good stuff.
So let's unpack that a second. So he got the good employees in for lunch, and then he sold them on dinner service. And once they were in the building, he was able to retain them.
Well, that's the game plan. He's not open for dinner yet. He's like, we're going to stay up. We can operate at lunch only. Yeah. We're going to operate at lunch only for a few months.
Well, that's a hell of a lot better than not operating.
Yeah. And we're going to operate. It's a brand new brand, brand new location. We're going to operate at lunch only. And I'm confident that we treat employees much different. Mm-hmm. And we have a really cool brand to do some fun stuff that, worst case scenario, we don't open for dinner 2 or 3 months later than we planned on. But I think what will happen is within the next couple months, because I don't want to go poach employees from other places.
Right.
And I've told the restaurants, hey, we're looking for employees. If you got people that are looking to pick up lunch shifts, because a lot of people aren't getting the shifts they need.
Sure.
At lunch or certain times because they're in downtown areas. He's like, we're not in a downtown. So we've got people coming that work at restaurants at dinner time in the downtown areas that there's no lunch business because the businesses aren't there. So they're coming to the suburbs and working at our restaurant at lunch. He's like, so that was one of his hacks was he segmented and said, okay, I need to find restaurant people, not a guy that's 16 that's looking for his first job. Mm-hmm. I want restaurant people. Where are they at? They already have a job. I targeted every restaurant and personally called and talked to the owners and said, hey, here's who I am. Here's what we're doing. Here's our situation. Are you open? And he's like, yeah, most of them are like, hell yeah, I got plenty of employees here that are looking for lunchtime work or looking for a couple days a week. And so that happens, though, you find out that information by having conversations.
Yeah, that's crazy because I'll tell you, as an operations, that was one of my worst nightmares was my employee taking a second job because I knew what would happen, right? Because now they got a safety net. They can act the way they want to. Oh, yeah. And the first time I piss them off, they're going to be like, you know what, I'm just going to go talk to my other boss and get full time.
Yeah,
right?
You're probably right there. Yeah. There's some people, I think what's probably more compassion now is there's a lot of people looking at it going, okay, there's a lot of people in a tough place that didn't take the payoff and stay home.
Yep.
That kept grinding for 2 years. That, you know what, I'm good with that. I always tell people, I've told my employees, I've got 2 employees that have their businesses on the side. The one guy's like, man, I got to talk to you about something. I'm like, what? He's like, man, I really want to pursue this on my side gig. And I'm like, cool, how can I help you? What do you mean? You're not pissed? I'm like, no, man, let me know. I've done it. Mm-hmm. If in 2 years you go off and you're doing $10 million in sales and that's good for you. But at the same time, it's my job to make sure you love where I'm at now.
Yeah.
And so it's the same way there, but it comes down to listening. And that's why kind of going back to the whole concept is restaurants, I get it. 9.5 out of 10 people you're going to talk to are not going to have a marketing solution that is going to be trackable, measurable, and understandable for you to see how it's benefiting your restaurant. It's frustrating. And to put it from an expert standpoint, Matt Plapp is very competent, and my 40-plus employees are very competent at doing everything that we do for restaurants. We don't do it for ourselves. Max over here films me. Doesn't do anything else. Films and edits. He could probably do other things. I could probably have had somebody else filming it, but I hired somebody to do that. Andrew up in Canada, up in Nova Scotia, wherever that's at up there, handles my personal Facebook ads, our Instagram, our YouTube. Gabe, most of what you see posted on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok ain't Matt Plapp. It's Gabe. It's Logan. It's Annie. There's different people. We hire. I could easily be doing stuff that we outsource internally, but we're experts at helping restaurants, not experts at helping Matt Plapp.
Yeah.
And experts helping America's best. I have 2 attorneys. I have an accounting firm. I have an interim CFO. I have all these things that I need, and I have marketing. And that's a huge weakness, is most restaurants don't have a go-to marketing. I told my employees, the part that's the biggest punch in the stomach for me is when somebody fires us. I'm like, because they just fired the best opportunity they have to win.
Yeah.
Because they look at us as a commodity. Oh, we're paying this company a couple grand a month. We're getting XYZ. I don't really see that it's working. Well, it's not. You're not seeing the whole picture. You shouldn't be calling to cancel. You should be calling because you got my cell phone number and going, Matt, what do you think our best opportunity to win are? I had a restaurant the other day that I said, yeah, you shouldn't work with us. Your sales are dismal. Your margins are non-existent. Your rent just got raised from what it was before the pandemic back up to that, and you're getting crushed. You're down 20 grand a week in sales. Yeah, you need marketing. But that marketing you need is bootstrap.
Yeah.
You need to get your ass on the streets and knocking on doors and kissing babies and shaking hands. You need to take it over. But at some point, you got to get to a level that if you're doing $600,000-$700,000 in sales or more, there's no reason you do not have a relationship with a high-level professional marketing person, whether it's a one-person man show like Matt was 12 years ago, or it's a person like us that's not a one-man show, that's like 70% female show, but understands it. And that's one of the reasons we niched down was I wanted to be able to be really, really, really specific. I mean, I could tomorrow put in place something. Like we could go to a restaurant today and say, hey, see my socks? They're Pop-Tart socks. I want you to take a picture of a Pop-Tart, brand it really cool with your restaurant, and it fits a certain theme. And when people walk in your restaurant and say, hey, before you order, we're having a contest internally. Do you toast your Pop-Tarts or not? Do you toast your Pop-Tarts?
I don't eat them.
You don't eat Pop-Tarts? What the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah,
You're out of my life. I'm going to friend you on Facebook to unfriend you.
All right. I only eat Pop-Tarts occasionally, but absolutely toast.
Toast it. And so
absolutely. I mean,
only
an animal would not toast
exactly.
a Pop-Tart.
And so think about the fun. Like people come into a restaurant not to eat the food, but to enjoy who they're with and have a good time. And people need to smile more. That if you can walk up and say, my man, before we order, need to settle a problem, Pop-Tarts. And they're like, yeah, what about them? There's a QR code on there. I need your help. We're doing a contest. We're giving away a $25 gift card. I'm on Team Toast. But scan the code, go to Instagram, tell us if you toast or not. Yeah. Those are things that experts can tell you. I call it, I had to change it because it didn't resonate with our clientele. 99 pitch problems, but a pitch ain't one.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
And so I created 99 topics like pineapple on pizza, drums or flats, do you toast your Pop-Tarts?
Yeah, I love
it. One of the reasons every day I wear food socks is when I don't have pants on, they're a conversation. Like every day. The socks I have, people are like, what is on your socks? Like yesterday I had Fanta. They're orange and blue socks. They match the brand. I had my orange Jordans on. I had my shorts. I had my shirt on. I had 3 people yesterday stop me. One guy was a restaurant worker at a Tom and Chi at Newport and Levee, asked if he could apply for our company. The reason they asked is he's like, dude, who are you? Because he saw the orange shoes, the orange socks, the shirt, the camera guy. I'm always marketing. I'm like, I own a company called America's Best Restaurants. We're a national restaurant media marketing company. Why, what's up? Can I work for you? I don't know. Go to americasbestrestaurants.com and hit the now hiring tab. I don't know if you can or not, but hell. But I had 3 people yesterday. That guy, an attorney, and if you look at my text, I can show you a text message. The attorney has a restaurant that's opening up in a month that needs marketing help. I was doing the PA at the lacrosse game. He was doing the score last night. The only reason he asked was he's looking at me, he's like, there's some reason you're wearing orange. Why? It's my brand color. That's why I wear it every day. Because I wear orange shoes, I wear food socks, and I wear an orange sweatshirt, t-shirt, or golf shirt every day. To the gym in the morning, it's funny. When I go to the gym, I literally walk in the gym with my MP gray sweatpants, my blue or orange MP shorts, my orange t-shirt, my orange sweatshirt. I work out because I usually do the 5:30 class 2 days a week. And then I shower and put the exact same different outfit on. I walk out. It's funny because some of the members are like, geez, this is hilarious. Like, you're carrying the dirty clothes that are identical to the ones you just put on. But I do it every day.
Yeah.
And every day it sparks conversation. The guy last night, literally, he's talking. He's like, you're in the restaurant. What do you do? I told him, he's like, what do you think of this location? Because he knows I'm from Erlanger. I said, oh, it's a terrible location. I said, why? He's like, I have a client putting a restaurant there. I said, she better have good marketing. I said, guess what? Good thing is you're sitting next to the number one restaurant marketer in the world right here. And he's like, I got to talk to her. I got to get your info. I said, here, better thing. Here's a book. And I had a book with me because I had my backpack with me. And he's like,
there you
you
go.
got to be kidding me. I'm like, no, that's what I do. But that happened because of my brand. It happened because I'm always marketing.
Sure.
And that kind of comes back around to the restaurants the same way. That consistency thing. You got to have consistency. You got to be telling a story. You got to be having fun. That all comes from having expert advice.
But you're living your brand. You're living your company.
And everybody should.
Yeah. No, but this isn't a hobby. I mean, go buy a boat and pick up fishing if you want a hobby. Yep. This is your life. And you also have other people's lives in your hands. You have your servers. You have your managers. Like, you have to give back to them and honor them by making a profit. And part of making a profit is driving that top line revenue and using revenue to do that. I meet with so many restaurateurs all the time, and they go, what are you doing with your marketing and blah, blah, blah. And I go, what's the number one goal of your marketing? And they give me some answer, and I go, no, it's to drive top line revenue. You need to drive that top line revenue, or you're going to go out of business.
Yep.
Matt, tell us, man, are you taking on new clients or what? Because I guarantee after this, someone's going to want to reach out to you. I promise you that.
We take on new clients every day. The one thing we do differently, though, is we don't take on everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody's not the right client for us. Like, we had a Mexican restaurant in somewhere near L.A. reach out about a month ago, and she's reached out 3 times since. We've turned her down.
Yeah.
She's just not a good fit for what
Target
we do.
market.
Yeah, she's not the right fit. But we take on our ideal client is an independent restaurant owner that's 600,000 plus. And we've got some that are 4 to 5 that are willing to understand that it's not a sprint, that they've got to put the work in for 2 years. Like Matt Plapp, where I got today, didn't happen over the last 6 months. It happened over the last 12 years.
Funny how people think that, though, right?
Yeah.
They forget about all the push-ups you did.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the Kanye West thing I was talking about, the documentary on Netflix. Watch it. The third one's a little weird, but the first and second one, you're like, man,
put in the work.
That's that song 5 years before anybody knew what the song was. He already had it, but he had to put the work in to get it out there. Well, your restaurant's the same way. The people are out there that want to eat at your restaurant. And so the problem is they don't know your story, they don't know you, and they don't see you enough. But so we take on restaurants all the time, ideally 1 to 5 location independents. And if we have some clients that have 20 or 30, that they have a marketing team that is willing to listen, because sometimes marketing teams are intimidated by us. Like, I had a lady recently who was really rude to us, and later on her owner called me and said, hey, I want to apologize. I said, you don't have to apologize. I know why she was rude. Why? You didn't tell her we were coming.
Yeah.
She thinks she's getting fired.
It's kind of the way chefs feel when I walk into the kitchen and do some consulting, right?
Yeah. And
it's
so, like,
same thing.
Mm-hmm. And so,
actually, every time I meet with somebody, they feel like they're getting fired.
Oh, you're a lawyer. Yeah, he's a lawyer. Yeah,
oh, gosh.
It's entirely different, right? Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, so we're always taking clients on.
Awesome.
Love having conversation. If you go to mattplapp.com,
perfect.
We've got a couple other websites. That's an easy one.
And we can find you anywhere, right? LinkedIn, all the social media accounts.
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook.
You push out orange content
Twitter.
everywhere, man.
Orange content everywhere. Orange shoes, orange shirts, orange socks.
Love it, man. You live it, walk it, talk it, man. Hey, this has been amazing, man. 3-part series with you, and I think we probably could have gone about 5 more. We appreciate your time, brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is a high-quality pod. Thank you, everybody.
Take care. Adios.
Thank you for listening to Restaurantopia. The gratitude that we have for each and every one of you spending your precious time to listen to this podcast is immeasurable. Please make sure to tell a friend about this podcast. And also, if you have any feedback for us, visit us on restaurantopia.com and drop us a line. You can also subscribe on your favorite place to listen to podcasts. Thank you and have a great day.
We are excited to announce the Restaurantopia VIP Text Club. Join by texting the word podcast to 844-928-4257. You will get access to exclusive content, industry news, deals, announcements, pro tips, and more. The VIP Text Club is an exclusive community of independent restaurant owners and professionals. Join today. Message and data rates may apply. Please check our website for our terms of service and privacy policy. We also want to thank our sponsor, Hillcrest Food Service. If you are a local independent restaurant and are looking for a distributor who has chef and operational consulting, provides marketing support, does menu reviews, and most importantly, wants you to be successful, reach out to Hillcrest Food Service at hillcrestfoods.com.
Drop the mic.
Awesome.
Can't even drop these. Can we just knock them off the table?
I think you can. It probably might chip the concrete. These are pretty good ones. All right. I think when we wrap it up, that was good.
That was a good talk.
That was really good.
I loved it. I can talk all day.
Yeah, so
I got to go back to work.
Yeah, no, I could too. All right, this is for me. So you've mentioned 2 or 3 books, and I haven't read any of them, and I read probably 1 or 2 books a month.
Yeah.
Audible, I listen to them. What are some of the books you laid on us today?
So the number one book I think you need to read to really set the tone is Deep Work.
Deep Work?
Because one of the problems all of us have is what we talked about today, is everything we're trying to get consumers to do with restaurants is crushing our business acumen, because we are fracturing our attention. That everything I guess we are talking here. Yeah. Everything we do is like, for example, yesterday I had a project I worked on for about 3 hours. And if every 20 minutes I stop and look at a text or look at Facebook or look at Instagram or look at my email, I stopped and started.
Yeah.
I lost momentum. So
That's
Deep
it.
Work is all about a concept of learning how to be an entrepreneur and a deep thinker. Mm-hmm. That's why our office is called Deep Work Space, and then our studios and other divisions called Deep Work Studios.
You're paying homage.
That's where it came from, because to me it was an impactful thing, because it got me to realize, like, when I go to dinner with my wife and kids, when I go to sporting events, I don't have my phone. So that book, Deep Work, taught me what I was screwing up on, the fact that I was fragmenting my attention. The next books after that, which depend on what you do or what you're trying to grow, like I have 7 books right now I'm rereading the next 2 years. That's all I'm reading. I'm not reading any new books. Like, only reading them. One of them's called $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozi. It's a book about your stories and how you get people to understand what you're selling and your call to actions. It's a great book for anybody to read, because like restaurants, even though they're not growing a company to 100 million, like I think Alex exited his 3 companies to 88 million at 30 years old.
Wow.
This past 2 years. And it was all in the offers, the call to actions. The next one is 10X by Grant Cardone.
Yeah.
I read that. I never was a Grant Cardone fan until I read Damon John's book, Hustle and Grind, or Grind, whatever it's called. And in the end, he has a chapter with Grant. And I've known about Grant for 5-6 years. And I remember back 10 years ago when Grant was doing a hardcore, like 10, I guess 2016, was doing hardcore social media stuff, and everybody at all the trade shows I was was like, oh, he's going to ruin his reputation. No, he went from 12 million to 112 million.
Yeah.
But 10X Rule is a great book I don't know if you've read it, from a motivation standpoint, from a mindset. Triggers by, I think it's Joel Sugarman, is unbelievable, because it talks about what the language and writing does to get people to do what you want them to do. Marketing Outrageously by Spolstra is awesome. It's got a fat sumo dude in the front, and he's got his stories of what he did. He was an NBA guy. He turned around all the nets, like all these proteins. What's his name? The guy that got in trouble, the Leonardo DiCaprio.
Wolf of Wall Street?
Wolf of Wall Street. What's his name? Jordan Belfort. Jordan Belfort's Sell Like a Wolf or whatever.
Yeah.
Unbelievable book. Straight line selling. Teaching you how to keep if you're in there for this reason, how to stay on a straight line. So you got $100 million. .com Secrets by Russell Brunson. It's it's a book that every one of your restaurants should have in their hand.
Really?
.com Secrets talks about what the internet is and what it's all about. And a lot of the book's not relatable from a standpoint of, he talks about, well, it kind of is, because his whole thing is your marketing should be stairs, and stairs that shouldn't end. That if you're Matt Plapp and you have a service that's 10 grand up front and $500 a week, cool. What's the 20 grand up front? What's the 100 grand up front? Mm-hmm. How much does it cost for somebody to work personally with you? 100,000, $1 million, 10 million? Yeah. Like a buddy of mine has a $5 million package. Nobody's ever bought it. No. But it's funny as shit, because like people are like, hey, what's the upgrade? $5 million. Excuse me? Yeah, $5 million. You're like, oh. Alex
Everything
Hormozi.
looks cheap in relation.
Alex Hormozi recently paid Grant Cardone $120 grand for 4 sessions. Yep. He's only used like 2 of the 4 so far, because he's like, the guy's almost a billionaire. I'm 5 or 6 years behind him. He knows something I don't know. I can hack the formula by getting that knowledge. Mm-hmm. But Deep Workspace is an unbelievable book. All right. Just from a standpoint of, after reading it, it was a big thing that really got me looking around at everybody I know and going, man, we're all distracted.